Do we have anybody here for park?
Yeah,
Okay.
right there.
All right. Good evening. We just want to recognize from kindergarten, Madeline Phillips. Mrs. Chandra gave her a card that says, "Madeline's such a hard worker. She always turns in such beautiful work. Not only is she a hard worker, but such a caring person. She helped out a friend during circle time and made sure she was following along and coloring the right numbers. Madeline always shows the class the Viking way." Great job. And then from Mrs. Heppy's class, first grade, Haley Graining. This card says, "All year Haley has earned the most dojo points in our classroom. She's a great role model and always sets a good example." From second grade, Anna Miller received a card from Miss Porosky, and it says, "I'm very proud of Anna for showing the Viking way in the halls, even when the girls in front of her were not." So that must be some inside story between the two of them. Xavier Davis received a card in third grade from Mrs. McCurdy, and it says, "Xavier went up by more than one grade level on the STAR test in both reading and math. Way to go, Xavier." In fourth grade, Blade Askerins received a card from Mrs. Pusateri. It said, "Blade knows the Viking way. At recess, he helped two classmates on the swings. Blade is a kind and helpful classmate." And then finally in fifth grade, Shane Kaiser received a card from Mr. Hamilton. It says, "Thank you, Shane, for being awesome at lunch by removing yourself from the kids causing trouble. Thank you for making smart choices." So that's our elementary. Congratulations to those guys.
Okay, starting with sixth grade, we had Liberty Ward from Mrs. Klingensmith. It says, "Way to start the third 9 weeks. Keep it up." Our seventh grade was Jake Herman, and it was actually written by me. "Jake, thank you for being so kind. I was happy to hear that you stepped up and helped a student in need. Keep it up." And Joe Ellison for eighth grade. This is from Mrs. McKay. "It was kind of you to help me carry my extra bag to the room this morning. I really appreciate your willingness to help." Nice job, Joe. Come on up.
Oh.
All right, and on to high school. Ninth grade is Gavin English. Gavin's in basketball practice right now. Thank you for always being willing to help out. Anything I need, Gavin helps. It's interesting in the main office when he's in there. I tell him to do stuff rather than his mom, and she's always amazed how I can get him to do things. And she's like, if I asked him, he wouldn't do that. So I always give Gavin special chores. Angel Moore in 10th grade. Angel has shown care and compassion for Mr. Mendenhall since his accident. She asks about him regularly, so they wanted to recognize Angel for her compassion. Laura Hood in the 11th grade. Laura and Mrs. Dean have a, what do you call the?
Rock, paper, scissors?
Yes, they do that every morning to see who wins. I don't know what they win, but watching the two of them do that every single morning is pretty interesting. It makes us laugh. So Mrs. Dean said, "Thanks for making me laugh every morning. You have such a positive attitude." And then 12th grade is Matt Sutton. This is from Mrs. Elias. Matt volunteered to carry some heavy items to the storage area for me. I really appreciated his help. And that's what we have. Thank you.
I guess I don't need to excuse anybody because they left. We'll go ahead with roll call.
Okay, Brock,
Here.
Pusateri,
Here.
Fletcher,
Here.
Whittlesey, Gum.
Can I get a motion to accept the following agenda for February 8, 2018 agenda?
I'll move.
I'll second. Roll call.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
What's the Terry?
Yes.
I don't have anything for my president's report because we're gonna do the,
Sure.
we'll move on to Mr. Brayman.
All right, thank you. We have a lot of things to go over, so we're gonna go, I hope pretty quick. But good evening. Typically, when you do a state of the schools, you know, we do this to let the board know what's happening with the school districts and consequently let the community know. So it's a 2-for-1 kind of a deal. The state of the schools is exactly that this evening. 2 years ago, we developed, as you might remember, we developed the goals for the district back in 2016, and we actually took those from goals that were developed, I think, from when Andy Hill was here. And we took those same goals and we tweaked them to fit to what was happening back in 2016. We're about halfway through that with the idea, I can't believe we're talking about it being a 5-year time limit being over in 2020 or 2021, which I can't believe I'm talking about 2021. But that would be the time when that series of goals, whether we met them all or not. So we're in the process, I think, as you will hear tonight, as far as the state of the school district, that we have met some of the goals and we are still in process of meeting the other goals. The focus tonight is we review our goals and our vision and our steps to realize all those things. We will cover the following goals. The first one is faculty, staff, and personnel. That goal is to continue to find ways to attract quality educators here at Waterloo local schools. The second thing, curriculum, instruction, and assessment. That particular goal is to make sure we are conducting current practices with, and keeping in competition, I guess if you want to say, staying in step with other leading school districts to show that, we're one of the best districts in the state of Ohio when one considers curriculum, instruction, and assessment, which I believe we are. This is something that we have to ask ourselves, are we doing what is best for our students to enable them to master content every day? And a lot of that comes from knowledge with the curriculum, knowledge of teaching and assessments. The third goal, school and community relations. This particular goal is to find ways to support each other and working together with the school district and working with community groups. This is a goal where we work together with the end game or the vision of an improved school district. Collaboration is really the heavy focus of that goal. If you've ever looked through our goals, collaboration is the key for our district, working with other organizations throughout Atwater and Randolph. The next one, facilities, safety, security, and transportation. That's a lot, and Mr. Walker is in charge of working with that particular goal, working with facilities, working with the safety and security, and also working with our transportation. Our goal here is to remain safe, which is always a goal, is to remain safe and to practice all procedures throughout the district outside the classroom. And the last few goals, technology, another big one. Are we doing what is needed with computers to keep pace with other districts? I don't expect, we're having a hard time passing levies. I don't know, many of you may have heard this. You may not have heard about this. We're having a hard time passing levies. We always have. So technology is one of those things, it's an easy thing to let slip when you're not passing levies, because technology, it constantly you have to reinvest in technology to keep up with what's happening. It changes and improves and gets faster so much all the time that it really costs money. So when you're not passing levies, that's an easy thing to let slip. So we have to make a conscious effort to make that one of our goals, is our technology keeping pace with everyone else. And I don't expect us to be at the forefront of technology, to be leading the charge, but I do think that we need to be in that neighborhood. We need to be, in the vicinity so we don't get too far behind. If you wait, 5 years, 10 years to update any kind of technology, then you will be vastly behind other school districts, and thus our students will be vastly behind other students in other districts, and that's something that we should not ever accept. So Mr. Dockery will be talking about that momentarily, and we thank you for being here. Next, athletics and the dean of students, that obviously it's Mr. DeVise. He is at a conference for athletics tonight. Actually was there today, tonight, and tomorrow. He will not be able to make it, but he did give me some information to share with, you know, if you're aware of our athletic programs, then you can see some improvements. I know not everybody is overjoyed that we left the PTC to go into the Mahoning Valley Conference. I can see some very, very positive, you know, if you're around the kids, you can see the positive results. If you're just within the community and you long for the days of playing in Rootstown, and then you're going to be disappointed. But I think if you're around our students and you're around the coaches and you're around the parents, you can see a lot of great things happening. Very, very positive things. And we'll break that down very quickly. Mike was kind enough to provide some stats on that to back that up. And also his work as Dean of Students, we don't have anything quantifiable. I think we will in a year. Just from my feel of it, I feel like our suspensions have dropped. Definitely our expulsionary hearings have dropped since Mike DeVise has been on board. I don't think he would be the kind of guy who's comfortable kind of, you know, he would look at it like promoting the work he does. But I do see a drop in some of those things. So that's something to look forward to maybe next year and beyond. So those are our goals that we will continue to work on as far as state of the schools and where our focus is at, and each administrator and each person here will stand up and talk about their particular goal that they've been assigned with and what they work most closely with, and we appreciate that. On to our first goal, that's mine, with faculty, staff, and personnel. I kind of took this one selfishly because I think, you know, our school district exists primarily for our students and because of our students. And the most important thing we can do to make our school district work and work well is to find the best possible people to do the job. You know, to find excellent teachers. I feel like we have really, really outstanding people working with our kids. I see evidence of it all the time. If you spend a day here, you can see that as well. A lot of the research out there shows the field of education has shown that most important factor in a child's education outside of the home is the quality of the teacher. So, you know, when we have the opportunity, we do spend quite a bit of time and quite a bit of thought trying to find the best possible person for that particular job. You know, but the key to that also is not just finding the best person, but also retaining that person. Make sure they stick around. We're not the highest paid school district in the state of Ohio by any stretch of the imagination. We're not even the highest paid in Portage County. But we need to do the things, you know, we preach this and talk about this a lot. We need to do the things we have to do to retain our people and make sure they don't feel like, gee, I want to go teach, I don't know, in Wadsworth or wherever, where they can make a lot more for doing the same work. We also commit to offer our students a variety of the best academic programs possible while working within our budget. Academic programs, we've really put some effort and energy into that. Edulastic, just at the top of my head, I'm thinking about this the other day. Edulastic, Front Row, we've done a lot with Google Classrooms. Ace Digital continues to help us in preparing our students, and also ACT Prep that I think will help us improve our report card. The goals for this particular goal: enhance the ability to attract and retain quality faculty and staff, align staffing levels to areas of greatest need, evaluate extracurricular programs and their associated costs. For the action step number one, we've done a couple things. One, to find the best people. I've asked the principals to be trained in this thing called the Haberman, the Haberman method. It sounds really like it is kind of painful going through the process, but to learn how to interview and to find the best. And we look at people, it's nice to have straight A students, and that's important that they master their content, but we also look for things like character, like honesty, like sense of humor, organization, all these things that this Haberman fella would teach other administrators to find in teachers. What we talk about all the time, when we have the opportunity, find people who have high character and people with a sense of humor, because certainly it takes a sense of humor to do this job and do it well every day, and then to do the things that we need to do to make sure they stick around. Also a very good vetting process. We talk about, you know, we find out our final 2 or 3 candidates. We go beyond that. We start calling people wherever they're from, and don't call just the people they leave as references, call those people, but also call beyond that. Between the administrator side, we seem like we know everybody in Northeastern Ohio. We can find somebody who knows somebody who's trying to teach with us, and we can often find out the rest of the story. And then also, and this is such an easy thing, but hire the best person possible. You know, you'd be amazed, but that doesn't always happen that way. You know, in any business or any field of work, you don't always have the opportunity to find or hire the best possible person. It's oftentimes maybe somebody's, you know, second cousin or somebody's neighbor or somebody lost a bet and they said they were going to hire this person. You know, but my idea is to always find, no matter what, let's get the best person for the job, and you won't go wrong. The next action step, to review all staff levels through formal evaluations. We try and work very hard evaluating everybody in our district. And that's not as doing a gotcha thing. That's more of let's let everybody know where you stand. You know, maybe you have to improve. Maybe you have to do some things to get a little bit better. If you don't have that conversation with your people, then that will not happen. And finally, to review the cost of extracurriculars and pay to participate, numbers, make sure we are living within our means, and we try to do that. I'm sorry, I was supposed to be clicking and I didn't do that. I can tell everybody's already fading
Oh,
on
so
me.
you thought it was broke.
No, it's just, I got so excited talking about staff and personnel. This is what happens. Here are the action steps. I'm sorry about that. All right. Gosh. So you're next. The next thing we're going to talk about our next goal, curriculum, instruction, assessment, Mrs. Sandell. Hopefully you guys talked a lot less than I did. How long was I?
Way long. But
Anybody time me? 15 minutes. We're supposed to be done right now.
I'll be done.
All right. Thank you.
I'll try not to reiterate, Mr. Brayman did touch on a couple of things that were on my list, but we'll talk about our continuous improvement of our test scores. Obviously, that is one of our main goals. We're going to continue to monitor all of our learning standards for all subject areas. When we talk about getting into the classrooms and we talk about evaluating staff, of course, we're looking to make sure that they are covering the standards that are set for them for their area of teaching. Maintaining an ACT prep class. You know, we've talked about this a couple of times. We've explored some other things. It's expensive to send kids other places. So thankfully, when we hire the right people and people who are dedicated, this year our teachers were willing to do it all on their own. We have that built-in AO period, and we've dedicated all of that time prepping our kids for the ACT that the juniors have to take. It's state mandated. But the nice part about that is our juniors can use that ACT score for any college application. So if they take it as a junior, it's free to the families here, and then they can use that score and don't have to retake it if they score well. We have created online assessments, so that went very well. Midterm, I already have it on my agenda to talk about for waiver day for our staff for finals. Talking to the kids, they really appreciated being on the computers, seeing some of those same formatted questions that they will see on our air tests at the end of the year. They appreciated, there were some things that kind of were a little hard for them. They had a little timer up in the corner that timed the amount of time spent on each question, and they found that a little unnerving, but at least it was there. They got used to it. It won't be, you know, something next time when it comes up. If it's still there, we're trying to kind of maybe find a way to eliminate that. But those are the kinds of things that they're going to face as they look at those online assessments at the end of the year. So we wanted to make sure that they had accessibility to that and they got used to it. We maintain our Viking Digital Academy. I know this was started when Dr. Hill was here. It is something that we use on an individual basis, but it really helps some students who just aren't brick and mortar kids. They aren't meant to be in the building, and they thrive in an online environment. So we're very lucky to have that. It really has been a positive experience for many students. We have some students that are returning from ECOT. Obviously, they're used to that online environment. I'm happy to be able to offer them that same environment here at Waterloo rather than them finding a different online environment to be a part of. So we maintain that here through the high school. Obviously, our College Credit Plus continues. That is something that we continue to watch fluctuate. It seems as though the requirements for that continue to change year to year. but we still have kids that really take advantage of that and leave here almost definitely finishing their freshman year in college, if not kind of creeping into their sophomore year. So it's a great advantage to our community to not have to pay for those. And then our continued use of our job-embedded professional development, I put in front of you our waiver day agenda for next Friday. We continue to use our own staff to create and to present our professional development opportunities. Our staff still has an opportunity to choose. And it's interesting when you watch, you know, Facebook is one of those things, but I have a lot of teacher friends from a lot of different districts who constantly complain about their professional development, that things are just thrown at them, that they have to sit and listen to what's presented, that they have no choice in what affects them or what matters to them. I'm happy to say that we give our teachers decisions to make on a professional development day. They get to choose what they go and listen to and are presented with. So we will continue in that manner for as long as we can. I think that's the end of my slides. The action steps are the same. Oh boy. You expect me to read
But you
that?
better speed read.
Woo! I think I've covered all of these.
Actually,
Our
you did.
continuous improvement plan, our evaluation through observations and lesson plans and formative and summative assessments we talked about, standards-based instruction. We will continue our retesting and regrading and all of those things. Reteach, retest policies are continuous throughout the district. Design class content and course options. We constantly look at our master schedules to make sure that we're offering students classes that they want to take, that we have enough elective options for them to graduate high school, and to support high quality teaching and learning. ACE Digital I talked about, which is the Viking Digital Academy. Colleges and universities, I talked about College Credit Plus, and the offerings, we will put those up soon. I can't believe I'm saying that it's February and we're going to talk about course offerings for next year already. But our students need to start selecting. Our seniors have actually already said, we don't get to choose our classes for next year, but that's okay. They'll move on to bigger and better. So I think I've covered it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have school and community relations. I think the very first sentence is the most important in this. So we believe that a school district and a community are stronger and more likely to succeed over time when they support each other. You know, we have to work together to make things work and not against each other. So we need to make sure that we involve the community in what we're doing. We heard a lot of that through the levy. You know, we realized that not everybody has Facebook, not everybody has the internet. So we kind of sat down as a leadership team and talked about all the different ways we can get the word out to the community and make sure that they're continued to be involved in the things that we do on a daily basis here. In addition to that, we need to make sure that we're involving all of our stakeholders, so businesses, business leaders, teachers, staff, parents, everybody needs to be involved with what we're doing. We need to, not only that, we need to make sure that we're continuing to build these relationships with them and not just, you know, sitting down every once in a while and having that conversation, just continue to build those relationships. We will continue to strive to communicate the happenings of our school district through various mediums to our community. And so we're going to kind of talk about that more in the action steps. For the goals, again, we're still working to achieve some of these, but maintain mediums of communication, maintain a district-wide volunteer program, maintain in the high school and establish in the middle school the requirement of service hours in the community by Waterloo students. I just had a young man say to me the other day how excited he was because I think he has like 56 hours or something at the middle school level, so he was very excited. I think it's good that we're fostering that excitement, you know, at such a young age to be able to give back to the community. And maintain a collaborative partnership with local colleges and universities. Thanks. Okay, so our action steps, and I'm just going to kind of read through these. Maintain district Facebook and Twitter accounts. I know we're all very good with our Facebook. I'm not so much Twitter, but I'm going to get there. Again, these are goals. I'm not a Twitter person, but, huh? Oh, I know, and so Lori said she will teach me. So we'll get there, but again, not everybody has Facebook and Twitter, so just kind of, you know, making sure that we have these other avenues to constantly be partnering with our communities. One of the big things I want to point out is maintaining communication through email, weekly updates, monthly newsletters, and the Vikinggram. Our weekly updates are going out obviously weekly. They're very thorough. Sean, I think, puts them out to the community. I've seen them on Facebook, so you know the community often knows what's going on.
We also, you may have this on here, I don't remember seeing that, but we do a monthly, we just started doing a monthly newspaper. I don't know what they call it, like the Waterloo updates, and that's just in case there's someone out there. I mean, there's people out there who don't have Facebook and who don't use Twitter and don't get email. So I thought, hey, let's get it out there in the newspaper at least once a month. That we're trying to put some things. In fact, our due date's coming up. I got the word. So, but we do that in the middle of the month, and we try to do it on Sundays. So it's a big day. Hoping that a lot of people see it. Anyway, thank you.
And then establish a volunteer committee. I think that we did this very well with the levee when we did the community cleanup, the trash, and the raking leaves and everything. Going a little bit more into our goal, I'd like to see that be a little bit more consistent, bi-monthly or something to that effect. Not just, you know, centered around our levee. I think we have a lot to offer. I think we have a lot of people that would be willing to step up and, like I said, continue to build those relationships with our community. And analyze the logistical components of how such system would be established. And our action step number 4, reach out to representatives at all area colleges and universities to continue to discuss collaborative endeavors.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right, Mr. Walker.
Good evening. Like Lauren said, the first sentence of her presentation was the most important, and I think the same is with this. We believe that the safety and security of all in our care is a top priority, and we will work toward evaluating current practices and implementing new procedures as needed to maximize this. And so we kind of have all of this lumped together in the same area because really it falls under this idea of safety and security. As we talk with parents, you know, their children's safety is obviously and usually their #1 priority. And so to that end, we make sure that our building and grounds are maintained in a safe way, but we do that within our budget. It's amazing what Brian Munger and the other custodians can do around this place to fix a door or fix a tile or a window or something. They're always coming up with innovative ways to take care of things and try to do that with minimal expenditure. We are compliant with all public building codes, fire codes, the Americans with Disabilities Act, etc. All of those things that we need to maintain, we do maintain. As far as safety, we evaluate and upgrade safety and security measures. That's kind of an ongoing thing. That's part of our process as we have to follow Ohio school safety laws. There are various ways of doing that. There's and I forget the name of the website, but the Ohio, I forget what it's called, P20 safety, there's like a, you know what I'm talking about. They really warehouse a lot of the information that we need to take care of, we need to turn in. For example, we turn in a site plan, building maps, emergency operations plans, and even emergency contact information to the state. We upload it through our safe accounts so that any fire or emergency responders can have access to that information. We maintain our fire drills and safety drills. We know them as lockdowns. Technically, they're called a safety drill because it could mean evacuating the building, not just locking down in the building. But tornado drills, all of those things, the emergency management test, we maintain all of those drills as we are required to do. And our emergency operations plan, we went through this a couple years ago, and the next revision is actually due in January of 2019. So this next fall, I'll be working with administrators and the association, with other folks, some community members, because we need to have a lot of people come together to revise and just check through that document and make sure it's what we currently plan to do in the event of an emergency. Along with that, we use a vendor I forget the name of the vendor, but the app is called Navigate, and it contains our emergency operations plan on a like a little flip, like an app for smartphones, and so teachers and staff can have access to our emergency operations plan at any time. You know, should we be evacuated and they forget to grab their book, they have it on their phone if they've downloaded the app. And we just worked with the company here over the last couple weeks to revise and update that app, and I'll be getting information out to the staff hopefully tomorrow. We maintain security cameras, and I thank Mr. Dockery as I think of that for all the work that he does, because it is an old system, but we make it work, we make it function, and that gives us extra level of security. We have positive partnerships with the Portage County Sheriff's Department, Atwater and Randolph Fire Departments, the Portage County Emergency Management Agency, the Portage County Job and Family Services. You don't think of that, but that's also something that falls under the umbrella of safety, as we are mandated reporters. Should we have suspicion that a child has been neglected or harmed, school employees are mandated reporters, and so we would need to report that to Portage County. And then other local groups and churches around here that support us and kind of have our back in positive ways. If there were ever a situation where something would happen here, we had an emergency, I'm confident that we would have a lot of, all the government agencies would be here, but then we'd have a lot of local churches and like the Lions groups, they would be helping out as well. And then as far as transportation, again, safety carries over into the buses. We certainly want them to be safe. And as far as cost-saving measures, I know Robin spends a lot of time making sure that our bus routes are as concise as possible. And I just want to kind of give a shout out to the drivers and the mechanics for their work to maintain the buses. You know, we do have some older buses, and yet they are always, you know, welding something or patching something or fixing something, making sure that we are compliant with, you know, a high revised code with the Highway Patrol who does our inspections. But I got to give the mechanics and Robin a lot of credit, because they do a lot of work over there, and it's pretty cool. Thank you. I think I covered a lot of that. We have ALICE drills. You know, we follow the ALICE procedure also in our safety drills and other things.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, Mr. Dockery, technology.
Hello. With technology, what stands out to me actually, instead of the first line, is going to be the last line, where it says monetary resources, while limited, will be devoted to helping the district achieve this vision within technology. Yes, with our funds being limited, I kind of look at it as a little bit of a creative challenge for solving technology issues, and it is kind of actually pretty fun to do, coming up with different ways to be creative to keep this district moving forward with different technology things. With our goals, maintaining our technology infrastructure to meet the needs of the district. What we do, we came up with, started in 2010, we come up with a 5-year replacement cycle for all computer labs in the district. Last year, in 2016, we replaced the business and graphics labs, and this past year we replaced the high school lab. We've also added 4 additional 30-unit laptop carts to the district, bringing our total to 8 mobile labs that we have throughout the district for students to use. Each building has 2 30-unit labs, and then we have 2 that can go anywhere in K through 12. Currently, right now, we're also working on expanding our Wi-Fi coverage through our E-rate funding. And last year, we completed all our network infrastructure upgrades of our switches, and this year we completed our virtualized server upgrade. So we're getting our infrastructure up to speed for being able to expand in the future with Wi-Fi and tablets, computers, things of that nature. We have central print stations, eliminating individual printing stations, being able to save the purchasing costs for that. For the second one, we've established this replacement cycle in 2010, as I said. We've added 7 smart boards in the classroom in 2016. And then this past summer, we finished off the district in mounted projectors in each classroom. And that now will give us the capability to go back in any classroom that we want to, as we're able to purchase smart boards in the future and add those.
And
to
we never
those
buy this
classrooms.
brand new either, do we?
No. Well, the projectors were bought brand new. The smart boards were purchased from Streetsboro schools. When they closed the school, they were doing this great deal. We were able to purchase them. Those things have been absolutely great, have been very reliable in the district so far. Professional development has been available upon request, as well as peer help with a lot of things. We have a lot of teachers that are very good with technology in their particular section, and they've been able to help other staff members out as well. We've always had in our in-service days technology sessions, and we provide all of our state air testing is provided online, as well as this year we're going to be doing ACT testing online here in the district, and as Lori mentioned, the end of course exams were done all online. Progress book for our online recording system has been up and running for a few years. It's been very effective, being able for not only students and staff to check, monitor grades, but parents can check it as well very easily. Let's see, our policies that are in place allow for the faculty and staff and students to use technology effectively in our educational setting. And then a yearly budget. We have a detailed yearly budget in place for tracking our spending in technology. And one of the things that I'll promote, and I'm really happy with it, is being able to use eBay to shop around and come up with the best price possible for different technology purchases that whatever we may need. And with all the decisions, we try and make the most cost-effective decisions while still forging ahead with technology in the district to be able to meet all our goals in here and all the action steps that's on the next slide as well.
Did you already cover that? Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mike's not here. I'll go over this very quickly. I want to point out before I do this that, and this isn't a complaint, but I just want there to be, we're asking our people who work here, the teachers and administrators and the custodians, and all, we're asking everybody to do a lot more. You don't pass levies, you start stretching people who are here. Matt's teaching phys ed now and doing technology. You don't see many tech guys that are also teaching phys ed. Aaron is the principal of the elementary, but he's also essentially almost like a business manager, working to make sure that we're safe. Lori is the high school principal, Mrs. Sandell, excuse me, is the high school principal, but she's also doing an excellent job with curriculum. And Ms. Hutchison does a great job with the middle school, but also is doing actually two more jobs, doing special ed, which takes a lot of time, especially in a district where we're getting more and more students with IEPs that are open enrolling here, and also doing the preschool. So it's not a complaint, but I think that is the state of our schools. We can't pass levies. We are asking people to do more and more and do it with a smile, And on top of that, you talk about our teachers. Now we're looking at a lesson in the elementary. We had 4 teachers per grade level. Now we're looking at 3. We're looking at the high school where it's hard to schedule electives because we're shrinking. So we're asking people to do more. It's not a complaint, it's a reality, it's the state of our schools, and I just want to make sure everybody's very aware of that. When you don't pass levies, this is what happens. But we're bound and determined to continue to put on above, not just a quality product, but above average learning opportunities for our students. Mike put this down for the athletics, and when we talked about this, he wanted to make sure we pointed this out. Our transition into the new league, the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, and the Eastern Ohio Wrestling League. It's gone very well for our kids. If anybody has any children involved in that, or if you're around athletics, you know that's the case. We've claimed league titles in volleyball and wrestling. I was there for both nights when we did it. What an awesome night that was. I know a couple of you in here were here. Pretty cool for both sports. And we finished no worse than 5th place in any of our completed seasons. Our vision for the future is to continue to allow our student athletes to have the opportunity to compete in an environment where they can succeed. You know, we didn't want to make this move because we thought we would dominate this league. We haven't dominated this league. We just wanted to have our kids on an even playing field. And when we're on an even playing field, we're seeing more and more success. Our numbers are going in one direction. Everyone else in the PTC had been going a different direction. This has been a very good move for our school system, not just the high school, but the middle school as well. We would like to afford them the opportunity to play in an environment where they can thrive while feeling safe. We will continue to find ways to upgrade our facilities with minimal cost to our community. We are not, sir, I put this, I added this part, we are not searching for a new stadium or any major athletic facility upgrades at all with any of our sports. We're looking with this new league just to be able to give our kids, our students, an arena where they can be competitive. Oh, this didn't come out. What Mike had tried to do, it didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it to come out, but thank you. We talked about the Dean of Students aspect of his job where, you know, it feels like things are going better as far as the number of suspensions and the number of detentions and some of those and taking more preventative measures. From an athletic standpoint, just very quickly, our football team has improved. They went a year ago 2-8, this year 4-6. Volleyball 11-10, this year 20-2. Boys and girls cross country teams. We had no teams in the past. This year the boys team was 4th at a league meet, the girls 3rd. The golf team 5-11 in 2016-17. This year they were 9-9, 75 in our league. Boys basketball, they actually have struggled a little bit compared to the year before, but they have a lot of young kids on the varsity team, I believe, and they expect them to improve. But right now, they're 6-10. Last year, they were 12-11. Girls basketball team, if anybody's been to any of their games, you can see a lot of good things happening there. The year before, they were 10-12. Now they're 13-5. Wrestling team, outstanding. They were 9-8 the year before, 2-3 in the league. They're now 11. They were 11-1 and 6-0. So. Very happy with that, and I think it will continue even with the spring sports, or at least we hope so, right? We hope. Okay, now on to the financial picture. Mr. Carpenter's going to talk about where we were, where we are, and then talk about where we want to be in the very near future.
Good evening. So while it's my duty as a district treasurer to stay in compliance with local, state, and federal laws and regulations, a lot of the stuff I'm talking about tonight, as you've heard before, it's really a joint effort between myself, Dr. Brayman, and the Board of Education as we make decisions of how the district moves forward financially and what we can do. So you've all heard this before, but we need to keep hammering the message out. Where were we? The district began trying to pass additional money starting in March of 2008. I know that's a long time ago, but I think we have to have some history here to show where we're at to tie into where we are going. Starting with the 2010-11 school year, the district made approximately $950,000 worth of expenditure reductions to avoid a projected deficit, and we did all that really without affecting our core educational programming. After 6 levy failures, the Board of Education heard from the community to pass the smallest amount of millage for the shortest period of time, which is also a critical piece of information that we have to remind people. On February 5th, 2013, the community passed a $5.9 million 5-year emergency levy. And with the passage of that levy, it was projected to get the district out to the 2016-2017 school year in the black, and the district did just that. In fact, we got out through 2018 watching our expenditures. So, you know, we got out to where we told the people, we kept our promises to the people. So that's where we were. Now to where we are now. Starting in 2016, the district began trying to pass additional money to maintain what we had. As a result of 4 levy failures, the district has made approximately $575,000 per year worth of expenditure reductions to try and get the district through the end of the 2018-19 school year. However, a majority of these reductions have now impacted the district's core educational programming. Last year, this current school year, we went through a reduction of force where we eliminated 5 teaching positions. And Dr. Raymond, feel free to jump in if you think I left anything out or needs further explanation. Currently, the district has the 5.59 5-year emergency renewal levy on the ballot for this May. And we also have a new 9.75 mil continuing levy on as well. With the passage of both of these levies, we're projected to get the district out through the 21-22 school year by maintaining our now current levels. So all those reductions we made, those aren't factored in coming back when we pass the new millage. If we were to factor bringing all those things back that we've reduced over the years, we'd be looking at double-digit millage to bring those reductions back.
If I can repeat that, since 2010, we've cut $1.5 million from our budget. Our budget is, what, $12 million, give or take?
Close to 12.
We've cut $1.5 million from our budget, and we continue, I mean, it's a struggle. It's been a struggle, but we continue to offer quality educational opportunities for our students. But that, for any other place, I would say that's pretty extraordinary. To be able to cut that much from your budget and still maintain a high level, that's saying a lot about the people that work in the school district. You need the next one, don't you?
So during the last levy campaign, the board sent out a survey to the community, and we got quite a bit of feedback from that survey. But three things came through pretty loud and clear. And what we heard was that Waterloo Local Board of Education breaks promises. So I just want to point out, promises made on the first levy attempt are never going to be the same as the promises that can be kept when it takes 7 times to pass a levy. Every year of unrealized collections diminishes what the district can and cannot do. Unfortunately, 2 years later when we pass a levy, people remember the first time we tried passing a levy when we said, if we pass the levy, we can do A, B, and C. But 2 years down the road, when we've foregone those levy collections, there's no way we can do what we could have done if we would have passed the first time around when we went to the voters. With every subsequent levy attempt, the board has always been very clear that, okay, this is the 5th time, this is the 6th time, this is only going to maintain our current levels at this time. What our current levels were on the first levy attempt aren't going to be what our current levels are 7 tries later. We also heard Waterloo Local School District wastes money and employees make too much money. Well, the Waterloo Local School District works very hard to ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent efficiently. We'll get into that in the next couple slides. But as you heard tonight from the previous presenters, they've touted how our employees, how we come up with creative and innovative ways to, repair things and to buy computers, all, in-house and to get the best deals that we can. The school district is in consortiums and things of that nature to get the most bang for our buck. While it is easy to say that the district wastes money and employees make too much, the facts show that this is simply not true. So a good benchmark, a good indicator of how our district spends money compared to other school districts is the expenditure per pupil. And what this does, this is calculated by the state. They take all facets of the district's operations, from administration, building operations, instruction, pupil support, staff support, and they simply divide that number by the number of students in your district. So in Waterloo's case, our expenditure per pupil is $9,500. The state determines similar school districts based on our demographics, and they also post that number. So similar districts that the state feels are similar to Waterloo, their per pupil average is $10,182 that they spend per pupil. And the statewide average is $11,600. You can see Waterloo's expenditure per pupil is ranked 105 out of 607 school districts. That means 502 school districts spend more per student, and 104 school districts spend less per student. Now, if you spend more money, if you spend, some schools spend $14,000 per pupil. It doesn't mean you're wasting money. If you're spending money in the right categories, you know, it doesn't mean you're wasting, it means you're offering more choices for your students, more electives, more offerings, things that can benefit them. At Waterloo, we run pretty lean, as you can see by our expenditure per pupil. Doesn't mean we're not providing a quality education. We just don't provide a lot of extras that other schools can afford to provide those students. But that's a good benchmark indicator of how we spend our money compared to other districts. And I would challenge anybody in the district to, you know, walk through our buildings and tell us where they think we're wasting money. Not that we can always do better. We always try to do better. But as Dr. Bremen spoke earlier, we're pretty much to the end of any cuts that we can make without really affecting or decimating the school district.
Yep.
And then another good indicator of wasting money or people who are paid too much, this is the average teacher salary. Waterloo's average teacher salary is $52,613. Again, the similar districts in the state feel are similar to Waterloo. Their district average is $53,643. Excuse me. And then the statewide average is $60,432. That's for our certified staff. Then in our classified salaries, the state really doesn't put together the averages for classified salaries like they do certified salaries. But I'll just say, when the district had the 2008 performance audit done, the audit showed that district classified salaries were well within line with similar districts and below the statewide average. And then another factor that shows we're not wasting or spending too much money is salaries and benefits as a percentage of operating expenditures. So salaries and benefits are the most costly for any school district. Waterloo's salaries and benefits as a percentage of operating expenditures are 70.83. Similar districts average is 72.58, and the statewide average is 74.13. Well, this came out a little bit different too. Okay, I wanted to touch also on purchase services, since this is the third largest expenditure category for the district.
It's hard to see that.
So again, we talked about salaries and benefits being 70.3, I believe it was, percentage of our operating expenditure. Purchase services make up 25% of our expenditures, which is a pretty big number. So our total fiscal year purchase services for 15 was 2.6 million. Fiscal year 16, that's up at the top, 2.6, and fiscal year 17 was 2.8. But out of that big number, people think, wow, what are you spending $2.6 million on? I thought it was important to note, and this percentage is down here kind of low, but really these percentages here are reflective of these numbers here. 63% of our purchase services are spent on educating students outside of our district. So we're not only spending 70.3% to educate our students in-house, we're also spending 63% of our purchase services to educate students outside the district. And who are those students? Those are open enrollment students, community schools, and then special education services that we just can't provide in-house because they're too cost prohibitive. We send those children to other facilities that can accommodate their needs. So again, roughly 63% of our purchase services are paid for those students that are educated outside the district. And that number fluctuates quite a bit from year to year depending on what students you have in the district. And then also, I just broke down open enrollment in community schools and told them at the bottom, and you can see how that has steadily increased over the last 4 years. Again, those are students that are going out. On the flip side of that, we do get open enrollment students coming in, but we're still net negative, the number of students that are going out versus the number of students that are coming in.
Next.
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
about that topic. Does homeschool students figure in there anywhere?
No. And then on the revenue side, here's a chart of our total revenue. Currently, the district's revenue is broken down into 3 major categories. Current property levies, property taxes, fund 34% of our school district's daily operating budget. Other local funds comprise 10% of our school district's operating budget. And then money we get through the state foundation program is 56% of the day-to-day operations. Waterloo's revenue is not projected to increase over the next 5 years without additional local revenue. So here's the projected operational fund balance. Keep in mind, this does assume passage of the renewal levy, what you see up there on that graph. Again, this includes the 5.9 mil 5-year emergency levy, which will be on the May 8th ballot. I'll just make a note here that it brings in a specific dollar amount. An emergency levy raises a specific dollar amount, which is $941,463. That 5.9 is now reduced due to district reevaluation. That's now going to be collected at 5.59 mils instead of the 5.9. But anyways, assuming the passage of the renewal without any new money, and we're talking about the 9.75 that we have on the ballot as well in May, those are the ending fund balances that the district is forecasting. So again, we're going to get through 18. We'll get, I mean, right now it's a, you know, we have to see how the numbers come in for the end of the fiscal year. It's going to be very close getting through fiscal year 19. But then moving forward, there's just no way there's enough money to cut to work our way out of those deficits.
So in May, we're looking at 5.9 mil 5-year emergency.
5.59.
5.59, and the renewal is 5.9, right?
The 5.9 renewal, I'm sorry, being collected now at 5.59. It'll be on the ballot as 5.59
Okay.
due to the district's reevaluation.
And the new one's gonna be 9 something.
I'm sorry?
The new one's gonna be 9.5.
9.75, yes.
Okay.
So the new 9.75 mil, again, along with the renewal, assuming that passes, the district's projected to get out through the 2021-22 school year, providing the current level of educational programming with the following projected fund balance there that you see. That's all that I have.
All right. Okay, so we have a lot of goals in mind. You can see we have a lot of work to do. We're asking for new money. We're asking for renewal at the same time in May, and it's not an easy thing to do. It's not going to be an easy task, but that's the task at hand. And we're not going to shrink from it, but we are going to do as much as we can to get ready for that. And that's our reality. We still have our goals to set, and I appreciate everybody coming up here to do that. And you can get caught up very easily in the day-to-day things when you're teaching or when you're an administrator, and you worry about, you know, kids getting their homework done or doing well on tests, and the principals worry about someone not serving at attention or getting in trouble in cafeteria, and you forget about those big picture things. So, you know, a lot of times districts will have a mission statement, or they'll have goals for the district. They'll put them out there, and they won't pay attention to them for 10 years, maybe 5 years after they're dead and gone. So it's nice to have this be the state of the schools, make that be the focus, so we can talk about it a little bit, think about it a lot, and get ready for the next couple years to get those goals met. So thank you very much, board. Thank you, and that is the end.
This will be posted on the website?
Yes, we'll have all of this posted on our website tomorrow. Okay.
Question. Go back. Can you go back to that thing about 5 slides, 4 slides? This, I guess, is a twofold question for you / Todd. And, no. Keep going.
Just tell me when to stop.
Okay, go back. Right there, starting right there.
Okay.
You made a comment earlier about newsletters. Where are you putting these newsletters? I ain't seen one yet. Is it in the newspaper?
Yeah.
On Sundays?
Yes.
Okay, people that don't get the newspaper?
Well,
The reason I'm asking is, yes.
we can't, I mean, we can do smoke signals, I don't know what else to do after that.
Well,
We do newspaper, we do.
I would say most of my generation do not get the newspaper, look at the newspaper. The people my age group, 35, 45, newspaper is a thing of the past for them.
Okay.
So you're putting those letters out there. Now, with that comment, with the levy coming, because I don't know how to get this out, I know that's why we're here. In my opinion, the next 4 slides or whatever needs to be put in the paper every week. Because I have people making comments to me, the things that you said.
To put it in the paper,
Break that down right there,
okay.
so they see the numbers.
Well, we can do that, but you just said people aren't getting the paper.
But we have to figure out another way also to get it out there. Whether
I
it's,
agree with that.
because the people that do get the newspapers can at least see this breakdown of Waterloo's only getting $9,500 and the teacher's salary page. Because yes, that's out there. I'm a government employee too, I hear it every day. I make too much money. Give me a break. But
Besides putting it in the paper monthly, like we're already doing, the Facebook, the Twitter,
But
going home,
these
wait,
numbers
going home with
need,
everybody, what do you
these
suggest?
numbers need to be put out there. If,
They're going out there, but
No,
put it
they're
in
not.
your fix.
no, they're not. These numbers are not going out.
How does your generation,
I guess I'm one of the low ends because I don't have a Facebook account. My wife does. I don't have a Facebook account.
I guess
I don't
that's what I'm
have
saying.
Twitter.
are you saying social media is the right way to go?
I don't know. Either that or we gotta start sending this, and I know it'll probably go around can, but we even gotta start sending this home with the kids. Or, to be honest with you, and this is not a knock on him or anybody here, I come up here for, my son's in wrestling and football. But I came up here for the high flyers jump rope thing at the basketball game. I'm sorry. We should have took 5 minutes. I'm the, well, other than him walking in, and I don't know if you guys are teachers, or you two are teachers or not. I'm the only person here. So why weren't we taking 5 minutes at a basketball game when there's 200 people in that night talking about this stuff?
Well, I'll just tell you,
Do you wanna know why?
because I've been here
Yeah,
for,
I'll
wait a
tell
minute,
you why.
I've been here for 24
Why?
years, and Mrs. Green probably remembers this. You know, we've tried to take advantage of a captive audience like that.
What are they
And
gonna get up and walk
and the
out?
Board of Education got their heads chewed off because the community said that was not the forum. We came to do this event. We did not come to hear a levy
And
presentation.
then you say, well, why aren't you coming to any of the meetings? Okay, you know what, that's fine. If that's the way it's gonna be, that's fine. Then I say point blank, and I know you guys don't wanna do this. What are we gonna cut? Come out and tell people right now, before this thing goes in May. Are you gonna cut sports? Come out and tell us. Are you gonna cut high school busing? Come out and tell us. Because you have not come out and told the public. You've come out and said, we need this money, we're cutting what we can.
That's
You know what
it,
you're
we're
gonna
cutting.
cut.
Well, no, we don't. We absolutely, I'm here to tell you, Mr.
Make a
Smith, that
list.
Waterloo does not have it.
I understand that.
So what
I
list do
just
you
said
want
that
me to
tonight.
cut?
We
I
don't- there's nothing
understand
left
that.
for us to go to.
I understand that.
'Cause now
But
when
start
we
coming
cut-
up with a list.
Now when we cut, it will
There is
be,
no
it will
list.
be the
There's
kids'
nothing left to
sports.
cut.
You know, when
It
you,
will be the kids' extracurricular
I mean,
activities. It will be the.
But if you don't tell people that, they're
They-
not
we-
gonna come out and
We tell
vote.
them, I don't know what you're listening to because we tell them.
You tell them what? You haven't come out and said you're gonna cut my kids' sports.
I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you, but you must be the only one that doesn't know because it's been put out there. Waterloo doesn't have cuts to cut.
I know
If we
there's
cut,
nothing to
It's
cut.
gonna be sports.
Then come out and say it. People
But we
aren't
don't know if
here.
it's gonna be that. It goes day by day.
no, you know, your points are well taken, but, you know, we also have to be careful that, you know, if we say
We're gonna do it,
if we
it
say we're
doesn't
gonna cut busing and say the levy doesn't pass, and then we cut high school busing, and then people say, oh, if we pass the levy, you're gonna bring high school busing back. We might not be able to be in a position to bring high school busing back. You know, we we were just able to fill our bus routes with drivers.
I understand.
If we do away with high school busing, those drivers are gonna flock to other districts.
They lose their job.
And then when we try to bring back and reinstate high school busing, we're not gonna have the drivers to fill those routes, even if we wanted to.
I understand that.
And then the
Hill doesn't
community's
have-
gonna be
Hill
upset
hasn't had high school busing in how long?
Then the community's gonna be upset because we passed the levy for you and you're not bringing
But-
back high school
but
busing.
what
So
I'm
we have to be
saying is-
careful on what we say we're gonna cut. If we say we're gonna cut it, then we need to follow through and
Okay,
cut
but
it.
what I'm saying is you need to come out with a potential of, we could end up cutting high school busing. We could end up cutting sports, or it's gonna be $300 to pay a play again. We could end up losing band, choir, shop class. Because I'm the only one here. I'm the only one that comes to half these stupid meetings.
Well, if you think they're stupid meetings, everybody else out there thinks they're stupid meetings and they don't come.
You're missing the
I
point.
think that.
You're missing the point.
I get your point, and I think that what the board has been looking at is that, right now, there's no cuts out there. There's not any cuts left to make.
Right,
I
I understand that.
That we can get a consensus of the board to do, because like for me, for instance, I personally will not vote to cut busing state minimum, because that means nobody within either a 3 or 5
2 mile radius.
2 mile radius.
I lived in the city. It's 2 miles.
So they wouldn't get bused, and my big fear is something happens, you have a tragedy on the way to school, and I have to look myself in the mirror every morning. So
Brian, I understand
that's
that.
one
I'm not arguing that point.
But to get back to what you were saying, maybe, and I'm just trying to, maybe what we do is we list, here are things that could be cut, and with the big cut, because the bottom line, things that are left are all extracurricular activities, and,
And
increasing
the sports that don't bring in money, which would be all.
No, if we cut one sport, no,
They
we're
all
not,
go.
we're not doing that, it's boom.
And that's what, I guess that's what I'm asking. I'm not saying you're gonna for sure come out and cut, but people aren't paying attention because you're saying,
You're talking.
we didn't pass the levy in November and nothing happened.
Or maybe the board's take could be, you know what, we're done making cuts. Anything else we cut is gonna be too detrimental to the school district. Maybe we just have the state come in. And then let
that's where we're at.
let the state, let the state call the
I
shots.
totally understand that, and that's what I'm asking. I'm just saying, step back of it, okay, you guys all live in the community. Step back out, just take your stuff out of the board. You said you tried to pass this levy in November. We have to make cuts. It didn't pass. The teachers have given and done things. I understand that. I volunteer through things up here. My wife volunteers through things up here. I see things. I have an open mind to the school. But the general public here says, nothing happened.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
We saw no changes. No
So-
visual changes, no.
And I don't want you to cut sports. I don't want you to cut band. I don't want you to
Very
cut.
frustrating here that
What?
nothing has happened. We've been making massive cuts.
For those who come and who are in
I
tune.
mean, I know what you're
I'm
saying,
just-
I'm just frustrated with that, for them to be on the outside. I mean, and answer a couple of things. The first thing, I don't get the message out there. I mean, if you wanna get the message, you're gonna get the message. If you wanna say, I'm not hearing that, I'm gonna vote no in the heck of the schools, that's what we're up against.
I'm
And
not
I know that,
interested
I'm
in
not
the message
naive.
and
The
you
second thing is,
They would be here if they thought they were getting the message out, just like he said, he knew to come here today, he knew we were talking about
Right.
this. So if all them people within that era
And that's
are
what we're
getting the
trying to
message,
do. I-
they should have their butts sitting in here listening.
I don't know,
And I get that.
maybe, unfortunately, we couldn't afford to buy a digital sign. I looked personally for a digital sign for this school, and we couldn't come up. Sean and I talked about this many times. I had a heck of a deal, a deal with a guy to get one put out here. But we have one in Randolph that can be used. If we call the gentleman, he said he would put anything on that sign.
But he doesn't. That's the point.
We-
Just because he says he will, we've sent him stuff numerous times and it doesn't make it to that sign. Just like the Record Courier and, we send them stuff and unfortunately they can't print everything. They can't put everything in there that we send.
Then I don't know how you get it
I had somebody
out.
from the Alliance Review today in my office. It's great and we send them stuff constantly, but they're only so large. They can only print so much stuff.
the second thing I wanted to say and I like your idea of doing that, is to put down like, but you risk a couple things. If I write down, hey, these things could be cut, and you have a list of, busing for high schoolers, sports, and 2 other things, then
You're threatening.
That's right, they don't hear that.
I understand, I
But
understand
I
that.
have a question then. You guys just
you
said
gotta
you're
go
at,
through
you're
it.
at the
You
point.
put that down, you gotta go through it. You write it, put it in writing, you say it, you gotta go through
Okay,
it.
then put it, like you said, potentially, we're gonna cut this. You're gonna get more people here if you come out and say you're gonna cut sports. You're gonna have 25, 30 people here.
Okay, I hear you. I get it.
You guys
You
just
cut
made the
busing.
statement that you're at the point that you're about ready to say, let the state come in and make whatever changes and do whatever needs to be done. What would they cut? What would they get rid of? What would they do?
Your teacher to pupil ratio is gonna drastically change probably.
But has that ever been put out to the public? Has that ever been written in the newspaper?
I think we're pretty much almost there. I mean, I really don't think,
But they're gonna cut all these other things too, the
well,
sports.
we don't know that. I mean,
We
I
don't
think
know what they'll cut.
each
They
school
can do
district's an
whatever they
individual
want.
district. I mean,
Okay.
there's schools that go into fiscal emergency, they still have sport programs, so.
What the state's gonna do is they're not gonna say, we're gonna put on whatever our levy is.
Well, they're gonna come in and make
It's
a,
gonna come in, it's gonna be in the double digits.
And
it's
they're gonna
keep
take the
going
money.
up, and it's gonna be not 10%, 12%, it's gonna go 15 until our levy passes. I mean, I don't know how much more we can spend
And the state's gonna keep loaning us money, and loaning us money,
And
and
we're gonna
loaning
keep
us
going
money.
further in debt.
And we're gonna be
further
going
in
into debt, and it's common sense, but people only hear what they wanna hear.
Right, and I get that. And the message isn't getting out.
The message is getting out, but once
But
again,
people
people only
don't
hear
wanna-
what they wanna hear.
Right.
They aren't
They-
open to that, and
Right.
so you can't change that. I can't force somebody to
No,
listen to
you
it.
can't.
But
at
we
the
can,
same-
we have every opportunity to hit the newspapers, the Facebooks, the Twitters, and you know what? That's getting a majority.
And door to door, because we
And
did
door
that
to
last
door.
time.
We have a meeting here every
I talk
month
to
that
people all the
everybody
time.
knows
Everybody I
about.
see, I talk to
Everybody
guys
knows
tonight
about
on the
this
phone trying to
meeting,
get them
and we've
here.
got
They
2
didn't show
people.
up.
so the message is getting out. They're choosing
They're
not,
choosing not to listen.
not to
because
show up,
they-
not to
they
listen.
see no consequence.
But you know what? This room was full when we lost bus drivers and we lost busing.
You're right.
Do you want to get to that point? Because once we lose busing, it's not coming back.
And we didn't lose busing before because we could not afford busing.
We lost busing.
We
busing
lost
because
it
we
because
can't
of
afford it.
drivers.
Drivers.
This
time
will be
we
a
lose
different
busing because we
situation.
can't afford it.
And I
But that's
understand that.
but those people that come to that didn't want to listen. They only wanted to hear
Art.
one thing: get the busing back. That's all they wanted to hear.
But that's what it took to get them here.
But you
That's
know
a
what?
step
Who
back.
pays the price for that? It's the
The
children.
children do, you're right.
But
And
they
I've
got-
got,
Same
I've
way
got
with the
four of them
education.
in here.
Wait a minute, with that scenario, I agree the children pay, but Lori, were the kids not here? That month and a half that we didn't have busing?
Oh
We
yeah,
still
they
got
were
kids
here.
Now,
They were here, but we still had, horrible attendance, and we get, that
Okay,
all
but-
gets recorded,
but
and it
who
all
does
goes on
that-
our state report
But that
card.
falls
We
on the
created
parents.
that. We like to say that.
No, it doesn't. It falls back on our report
Falls
card.
back
I understand it falls on your report card too, but
Yeah, why am I gonna pay for a levy when you guys are getting D's and F's?
In reality, it falls on the parent in your eyes, but as a school district, it falls on that report card because then it comes back to the community looking at our report card,
That our
saying,
attendance
oh, we
rate
want
is
this
low.
money, but we can't even get out of the D range.
Well, you guys don't participate. I mean, yes, we can argue back and forth, and I get it.
I think too, one of the things that's most, you saw tonight is, and it was a real casual mention, but I think it's very important. After the family involvement or home involvement in education, after that, the next most important thing is the quality of the educator. So, and I think that that's a very important point, is talking about after the family. Unfortunately, so much stuff falls back to the school district because nobody wants to take responsibility in this world anymore. So we're a big entity, if you will, so we get a lot of stuff thrown at us. But ultimately, it's the school, it's the community's responsibility to fund the education program. And, we have gone through, we presented a lot of this information, we did door to door, we passed out stuff, we mailed this information to every registered voter last time.
And on that mailing, may I add, it
stuff, had all these community nights and had all these talks and discussions. The night before the levy,
Yeah.
It took one call to screw it all up.
one full call, and all of a sudden.
Well, it was Tom Z. Might as well say what his name is.
You know,
Yeah, it took one
He
call.
provides a ton of misinformation, and all of a sudden, people don't believe us.
Yeah,
They believe him.
The school board, I'm gonna tell you right now, I gain nothing except increased taxes when the levy passes. We make like $50 a month. I donated more money to the school district last year than I made as a school board member. I have nothing to gain out of this, other than maybe a migraine and a few additional, what few hairs I got left turning gray. So it's not like we're getting any personal gain out of this.
You're fighting you're saying to the wrong person. We're just trying to help you figure out a way to do it.
That calls.
it screws it all up, yeah, because when I got that call, I go, if anybody listens, I turned to my wife and said, if anybody listens to this,
We're screwed.
they're freaking idiots, because it was a stupid call. It was one that didn't make no sense, and it's because people don't want to listen, they want to hear what they want to
They
hear.
heard what they wanted to hear.
And that was all it took.
A reason. But
And he knew it.
with that, you asked about what you think the state would cut. Typically, the state does not cut sports. Typically, the state will come in and cut teachers and staff positions. However, I'm gonna tell you, we don't have any. You know, everybody talks about what happened when Springfield went into,
That's
into
what we're-
state. The state came in and cut 30-some teachers, and they still were better.
Yeah, and they also cut their school day, and those kids got out at 1 o'clock.
That kind of
Do
stuff.
you know how that would wake people up? Him and I talked about that. I
So-
said, take lunch out and send them home at 1 o'clock, and you'll get people here because they'll go, my kids can't be home at 1 o'clock.
Well, you know, unfortunately,
That's for you to vote for a levy then.
unfortunately, I think, you know, the school board's done a great job of maintaining, again, the adequate educational program, maintaining the conveniences for community members. And unfortunately, instead of getting a pat on the back for that, you know, they just get chastised like they're lying and doing something wrong. So I guess the board's done too good of a job over the years of running this
But
school
I'm just
district.
asking what, you know, and I understand what you're saying, and I understand, I'm not here to beat you up.
No, I know,
I'm
I
trying to
know.
help figure out a way, and I'm telling you, the people that I talk to still aren't getting this information, and they're not believing you guys.
But in the same
Well,
note, you said you told so-and-so to come because this is going on,
And they're-
like, so-and-so.
They're not here.
They're not here.
But I
You're
can't,
doing well
I
first
can't
time.
go.
Let me
hold-
change gears here. All right, now, I've been asking these guys and some of the teachers to give me some names for, the next levy committee. You know, the people that have a lot of excitement and energy in the school. We had a core group. I'm gonna add to them. I'd like to put you two on the levy committee group. You guys are both passionate. You wanna help. You can get to people that I can't get to. You're hired.
And I was here helping you walk the ditches and doing that, and
I
I
know.
think we need to continue that
Okay.
seasonally. I think
So
that
you're-
needs
so
to
you're
happen
gonna
by
do
our
it? You're gonna
sports.
help?
But what I still do my part, and I'm here, and I do talk to people that I see,
Okay.
but I think I'm not a BSer. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
say yes and come to these meetings, and then we'll make
well,
plans.
But
I'm
even
not
at
saying
that-
I won't be,
even
here,
at that-
but I'm not afraid to tell
I-
somebody in the public.
I'm gonna call you, I'll call you tomorrow, and I'm going to persuade you to come to these meetings. all
But
right?
Was I not at the other meeting?
But you know what? You're not a BSer, and you're a straight shooter, and you're not PC. You know, you were straight to the point, and I think most of your friends and most of the people you talk to probably realize that. So, you know, if we've got to come up with cards or something that's easy for you to carry 10 in your pocket, and when they say that's all a bunch of crap, you know, we're not going to do this, you just reach back there and say, here you go. I support the schools, I support the levy, and this is why. And you know what? Those people that know you is going to say, well, geez, if he's supporting it, there must be something there, because he doesn't tell me lies, he doesn't distort things, and he knows the facts. One, you come to the meetings. Two, you participate in these campaigns. You are an active person in this community. A lot of people aren't. But that's why we need to have something. If we want to make a difference, it's not going to be reached on Twitter or Facebook or in the newspaper, then we've got to have something for you to put in your pocket.
Do you want to know something? And Lori can back this up. Who's the one that initiated the signs? my son, and there was 5 people there. I made a
2
suggestion.
of them were administrators.
I made a suggestion to have kids taken up to the corner on the day of voting, and we couldn't do that for some stupid reason, probably insurance reasons, whatever. So all those kids went home, and 5 people showed up. I got tied up at work, I couldn't get there. I was planning on being.
I was there.
I know
Very
you
cold.
were there.
I think it was freezing, but I was
But
there.
I'm
And
just
my
saying,
daughter
I've
seen
got-
it and she was excited.
I
She
got-
says like, Dad, you know, they're up at the, you know, crossroads. And
But
she
nobody
was,
showed up. The kids didn't show up. There was, what, 2 or 3 kids, mine being one? And I don't know, to be
the
honest
thing
with
is,
you,
we
we've got
walk
to
a
figure out
fine
ways to
line,
get the
we
kids
walk a
more.
fine line when we start using the kids. I mean, I would love to use them, but, you know, that's just it, use. All the negative people out there are gonna say that you're using the children.
But they're
We
gonna
we
say
cannot
that-
use them.
They're gonna say that regardless.
But you have to be careful
Then
of the
send us
perception
home-
that
send
you're
us home
using
every
or
week.
the holding them
Send 3
hostage.
pages every week home with them, until they see it. Send those 4, you could probably put all that on 1 or 2 pages. Send them home every other week.
You know, maybe we've been so cautious of trying not to offend people, like with not threatening, oh, we're gonna cut this or cut that. And like you said, maybe we've been too cautious of that. We just need to say, hey,
Well, we're about at the critical mass
I'll
point
give you an
to
example.
where it doesn't matter if we do get chastised or killed or whatever. I mean, but we have to be prudent that it's not, I could care less one way or the other, the perception that people have about me. But we still have a responsibility to the kids, and we cannot be put in a position
We
where
all do.
we're using those kids to get out a message. The
Yeah,
message
but-
should be evident, and that's what the Facebook's for, that's what the newspaper's for, that's what Twitter's for, that's what we're here for. The message is there, all you need to do is have a minute amount of effort to make yourself accessible to that information. It's there, you just the community has to put themselves, make the effort to find out what the facts are.
I do have one quick way. Is your email thing still voluntary, or does it go out to every single person in this school?
I think it goes to everyone.
I thought before you said that they had to click on whatever to join
sign
your
up for
email.
it.
Oh, you mean?
Your
I mean,
superintendent letter or whatever that you put
Anybody
out.
else can sign up on it, yeah.
But
they
why?
can.
Why is it not? You have every parent fill out them papers for
Every
any
year, at the
kids.
beginning of the year.
Every email you should send out should go to every single parent that you have an email address for.
And the
All
email-
this information
I
should
thought it did, but I'll have to.
all this information should be tomorrow.
If I
email it
remember
out.
correctly,
Okay.
If they don't want to read it, they'll delete it. But how many people will open it up and go, oh, that's a way to get people that don't read the newspaper? Everybody reads their email.
because I don't
Not
quote,
everybody has email. We've
you're,
had that come
you're
in
right,
over and
you're
over.
right on that. But on the paperwork that you send home at the beginning of the year that everybody has to fill out, I think, and I may be wrong, and I hope I am, but I think it still says optional email. Don't make it an option. I know that's not the nicest way to be, the polite way to be, don't make it an option. Because then you can send it out, you have to give that, I have to give that information that I'm giving you permission to send out these things, send out that, okay? When you guys cut busing, I'll be the first one to tell you, I live right around the corner here. I was upset. Yeah, why are we cutting? It's ridiculous. My kids need to get on the bus. It's inconvenience for them. But you know what? My wife and I worked it out between her, me, and our workplaces to get our kids. When you said they couldn't be in the building before 7:45, I sat in the parking lot. My wife sat in the parking lot till the doors were open. And then one of us was late to work. Yeah, it stinks. It's an inconvenience. But as a responsible parent, I got my kids here because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not trying to tell you guys you're doing a bad job. I'm not being ungrateful for everything you guys have done, but I think, and I'm sorry I don't know your name, you kind of hit it a little bit on the head that maybe you've been a little too nice and made it too convenient because now everybody's expecting you guys to cater to them. you know what, parents were parents first. They should still have the responsibility of getting their kids to school. That's their responsibility. I always looked at the school as the responsibility of educating my kids and me to back it up, support it, and help out. Not take care of them because I have to get to work.
Well, you know what, you guys have given us a lot to think about, there's no doubt.
And we're gonna form a committee to try to put together cards and a levy, an approach to levy. But I think that certainly if we have an email address, I'm to the point, I agree. If we have an email address for a parent, we need to make that list and send it out. It needs to go out.
Everybody. I mean, if they don't wanna read, if they don't wanna read this piece of paper, they're gonna throw it in the trash.
And if somebody doesn't wanna do it, send it through my email so they can be mad at me. But I just think they need to have that information.
Okay, no, I got it written down.
I mean, it's another option to get the information out there for, I mean, I don't get a newspaper, so I don't see your articles in a newspaper. Now, my parents get it, they're 70 years old, that's that generation,
Yeah.
they read the newspaper.
That's what we're shooting for.
I think we need to do a better job. Lori does a fantastic job of the daily announcements. I think we need to make sure the web pages are up to date. If stuff's happened, there's still stuff on the web page that's listed from the beginning of school. There's no sense in that stuff being on the web page. On any of them. I mean, you know, that the person I was talking about, I said, dude, some of this stuff was on the web page, and he didn't find it. And I actually copied it before I left work, and I emailed it to him and said, right here it is, open it up. It's the November slideshow thing.
We'll have this on tomorrow's.
I mean, I think we just need to make a better thing of the web page to make it more accessible for people to read. I don't know.
You know what, and we can go back and forth on, we can hire a company to have the fanciest web page.
We don't need a
easiest
fancy
access.
web page.
Things are there, if people wanna find it, they can find it on that web page. But it's not the easiest thing to maneuver, I'll admit that. There are other school districts with much nicer and much smoother, but they're paying for that.
But
We're not.
an example was, like you said, we looked for it I argued, and I said, there's nothing there. I go on the page and there's
On
nothing
what?
there. On your web page, because I was in the car when he was arguing with the guy.
Mhm.
I know who he was talking to. I was arguing with him a little
Well,
bit.
what were you looking for again?
This information, because I had not seen it before. And he goes, it's on the web page. And I said, well, and I'll be honest, I don't go on the web page all that much.
Well, it depends on what they were looking for. If they were looking for levy information that said vote yes, then that, we cannot have a link off our webpage for that. We can do this, yeah, we can do factual information.
And it is on the front page.
Okay.
That was my fault because I said, no, it wasn't. And then he
Okay.
goes, yeah, it is, and he showed me. But I understand having yes for the levy and all that, I get that. But having this
Yes, you can
information
have that.
right front and center. When we pulled it up today at work, it was there, and I was like, okay, I was wrong, my mistake. But
This slide is a newer slide that we just built. We
Right,
have had in the past.
No, I was talking about the operate, the one from November.
the one from November that had some of the breakdown information that you guys had been passing out. So,
Todd, can we put in levy information? If we set up a tab that says levy information, so they go in and they click on that, and that has levy information, and just as long as we don't have anything that says vote yes.
how to vote, but
Well,
even if you don't want to call it
I mean,
levy
each time these
information,
questions come up, we want to do our research and make sure we're not saying yes for something we can't do. I would rather shy away from any word levy and just put financial,
school financial information.
right, financial
Because
information,
nobody
stay
can
away
argue
from
and say,
levy
none of this
altogether.
information's up. Well, yeah, it's right here. Here's a tab, school financial information.
Or financial state of the schools.
Exactly.
Because, that's a,
You know, what do most parents go on that page to look at? Their kids' grades. I'd put your hyperlink right underneath your progress report or progress thing there, or your tab, however you want to do it. Because most people want to go see if their kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing, if they're holding their kids accountable.
Good advice.
Thank you.
Sorry for being late, but
No, that's okay. I'm just saying.
I had animal issues at home.
We got 4 kids.
I got 4 kids, but 8 horses.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in touch soon. You guys
We have,
want help?
you have,
Fine.
you have,
I do.
He has my information.
We've spoken before, so
Yes.
that's good.
But that said, we're gonna go on and move on to the treasurer's report.
Might as well just go to new
Before we move
business.
on,
Okay.
Hey, I'll be in touch. My two newest recruits.
Thanks.
I don't have a Maplewood update, I looked at Diane's email that she sent us, and it didn't have anything special. No legislative updates, we'll move on to new business.
Only other new business, I just had 2 different things. One is, being a part of the community for a long time, and, you run into people, see a lot of people, and there was a lady that, I went to school with her kids, her sons, Laura Rogers, and she was very active in the Boosters Club up until maybe 5 or 6 years ago when her health just was not, she couldn't do it. And, I graduated 35 years ago, and she was still involved with things around the community, and just a phenomenal person that, did all the volunteering and always involved with athletic boosters, selling tickets and raffle tickets and all those things, and just super involved. And unfortunately, she passed away about a week or so ago, at age of 90. But it's nice. It was just, it's so nice to see somebody like that stayed involved. I mean, their kids have been graduated 20 years or more, and still coming up and doing things. And great loss to the community. So we'll certainly miss her. But sympathies go out to her and her family, I should say. And then the other thing is that we kind of started touching on before the meeting. Calamity days. There seems to be a lot of confusion about making days up. Because the state went to hours versus days, and we have way more hours than we need. However, does the state go by days, or does the
State goes by hours, but districts tend to stick with whatever contractual language is there. The hours are the thing with the state. Schools tend to say 5 days, and anything beyond that, we make up. Okay, so that's where we're at.
So that's what the contract says?
We're still in the midst of checking. We started looking into that today, so we'll be able to
I think,
answer that better.
just for my points, and I know this is gonna make me public enemy number 1, if we're gonna make any days up, let's do it. I don't care if we have to come in on Saturday, let's do it now. I don't think it's any value educationally packing on at the end of the year. The kids need to be getting ready. We put all this effort into this test, into our testing, maybe spring break rest go. We put all this effort into our testing, and our kids need to be here. And they've missed 7, 8 days, and we have some reduced time. I mean, this is all really, really, really important to get them ready for the tests that are coming up. And I think that if we're gonna have to make up days, I'd like to find a way to do it. Before, like I said, I'm sure
Saturdays for you guys, all right?
that doesn't make me a very popular person, but I'd like to see it done before, as opposed to packing them on in June. To me,
How many more days do we have off? Like, you guys gotta do your day on Friday, but that could be a day you use.
Oh, we have President's Day the following Monday.
Well, right.
And then we have all
Spring break.
So
But
there's
you
6
have
Memorial
days
Day.
right there.
2 days, yeah, but you have
Memorial Day.
Friday. and
The
then-
thing is, we have contractual issues with the teachers, so we have to be very prudent in how we use that time without incurring extra days or lengthening it. That's one of the benefits of doing it now and trying to incorporate it inside the school year rather than extending the contracts by what we need. And hopefully the weather will start to cooperate a little bit more. But these are questions every district around is asking right now, they're going through the same issues. So hopefully,
I'm in the middle of checking it out. I think I'll have some answers soon, so.
Okay,
we'll
great.
get to that.
Great, thank you. That's all I have.
Anybody else on new business? And we'll move on to the consent agenda before we take motions. Does anybody have any questions? And can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second it. Roll call.
Busateri?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
Fletcher?
yes.
And then can I get a motion to move into executive session on the topic?
So moved.
A couple things, one of the
Yeah.
things before we break. First, I just want to congratulate congratulate the class of 2018. This is they're being board approved to graduate, so it's a great class. They've been very good. We want to congratulate them. And recommend to approve the calendar. We're looking at calendar B. Which there was really not a whole lot different from one calendar to the next, if you ask me, but B was the one that everyone seemed to appreciate, so that's all I had. Thank you. I'm snoozing. Yeah. Sorry. Thinking about those plans.
I knew we covered a lot, but I thought, well, maybe we did cover it all, you know?
Yeah. Sorry.
Now can I get a motion to go into executive session?
Pusateri,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Brock.
Okay. Thank you.
We don't anticipate
Thanks,
anything
guys.
coming out of executive
Thanks.
session. You guys are more than welcome to